Now, British theatre has been described as hideously white in a report looking at the presence of black, Asian and ethnic minority actors on stage and production and technical staff off stage. The report was commissioned by the Andrew Lloyd Webber Foundation and concluded that theatre risks becoming irrelevant to the majority of the British population if it doesn't become more diverse. Let me take you through some of the key points of the report, and they include these. The lack of representation of black, Asian and ethnic minorities on stage led to the feeling that many students from those communities felt the stage was not for them. And then financial barriers. They were standing in the way of these groups from progressing into a career in theatre. And then diversity needs to be addressed on and off the stage, from writers to production staff. It's important to underline the range of roles here. It's not just people acting on stage, it's to do with the entire profession. So let's discuss this with Gail Babb, who's the producer of the Participation and Learning at Talawar Theatre Company, the Black Theatre Touring Company, and the actor Emmanuel Kojo recently received a Best Supporting Actor nomination at the UK Theatre Awards for his performance in the recent production of Showboat, and I'm thrilled to have you both with us. Thank you very much. Yeah. Gail, first of all, let's just deal with the kind of tone of the report and the broad sense of progress is really dire. Is that your sense of it?
I wouldn't go so far as to say that it was really dire, but progress is not as fast as any of us would hope that it is, or that it has been in 2016. I think we're in a position where, unfortunately, still theatre and a lot of other British institutions don't reflect the diversity that we have in the country.
I mean, you're here representing success, you know.
Yes.
You're both successful individuals. And Emmanuel, for you, when you read this, what is your sense, first of all, of the conclusion? Which is that, you know, it's not just about poor progress. The suggestion is, of course, that people are being put off for lots of different reasons. How do you see it?
I think, you know, a lot of people kind of, like they said, they don't see themselves reflected in the TV programmes, in theatre. So for me personally, if I hadn't had the support I had going to drama school, there's no way I would have had the access to be where I am now, because my mum can't afford those school fees. Yeah. So it's to get the diversity, it's to deal with, I think, helping nurture a pool of talent from working class families which can't be accessed because of the school fees.
It's to do with, well, I'm not going to put words in your mouth. Is it to do with the fact that the theatre world doesn't go out of its way as much as it could to encourage and to help? Is that what we're saying?
I think that there are lots of different issues and there are lots of reasons and different aspects to this. But one of the key things that I think for us at Talawar Theatre Company is that often diversity is the sort of thing that pops up on people's agendas. Yeah. And it comes up and we might create a project here or a project there, and they're discrete little bits of effort. But what we really need is long, sustained, continuous engagement to make a real change.
What will it take for that to be delivered? I mean, what is missing here? Why is that not happening?
I think that often it's about where you're looking to increase diversity. So there are a lot of programmes, a lot of projects across theatre to help emerging artists, younger artists, and that's really important because, as Emmanuel was saying, actually we do need to be helping a wider range of people to get access to the training. But until the gatekeepers, the decision makers, the casting directors, the writers change, then actually all we're doing is we're developing a pool of people that have nowhere to go.
Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it? So there's a blockage there.
Yeah, because sometimes I do feel, you know, it's all fair enough having the people to do their jobs, but if you don't create the opportunity, how can you employ those people then? Yeah. So it has to be, and you know, I'm also on the Equity Council, and it has to be, I think, we have the Playfair campaign, which is about disabled actors, and you know, it is about diversity. It is for everyone, because there are so many people who just don't get the opportunity because a lot of disabled actors don't have the access to, don't have the right access when it comes to being seen for things, or Black and Asian, East Asian, you know. So I think it is about, one, getting through the door in the first place to have the meeting, but also people just being allowed to kind of not being seen for the colour of their skin, but just being seen for the profession that they're going into. Yeah. to just establish themselves as an actor rather than just being seen as a black Asian, you know.
How good are they? You know, that's the issue. You mentioned finance. I think that's interesting because that was a point on the report, financial barriers. I'll ask you both about this, but you first of all, because, you know, you've got to where you are. Limited means clearly are a massive barrier to people. So if there's someone watching, you know, young person who wants to follow in your footsteps, what would your advice be then in terms of, you know, if they don't have the means financially, what would you say to them?
I think, because for myself, I looked at applying for loans, I looked at to see what other options were there for me, because generally my mum can't afford the school fees. There's no way I could have gone. And, you know, it was through the school who then asked me to audition for the Angela Weber Scholarship, which I was then very fortunate to have. And without that, I couldn't have gone. And I think, you know, there's been a wide group of support to help me through to get to where I am. And I think you can't give up. If you really want it, you're going to have to find a way to do it and just push for it, because there is that support network that can help you and can give you the support that you need. But you just have to just go for it, because unfortunately, if you don't, you will never know and you'll regret it.
Pleased that we were able to show some pretty terrific images there as well of success. And Gail, you know, given your project, given your theatre business and what you're trying to achieve, I'm then wondering, given the conclusions of this report, you know, what kind of message can you give to young people from ethnic minority backgrounds about their prospects for success? Because it becomes difficult, or is it difficult to enthuse people if they're aware that their prospects of getting, you know, on and progressing really dramatically are limited? So how do you manage people's expectations in that way?
I think you just have to be honest. The theatre industry is not an easy industry to be in, full stop. It doesn't actually matter who you are. It is even more difficult if you are from a BAME background, or you're working class, or you have disability. So I don't think there's any point in pretending otherwise. So it's something that you have to really want to do, commit to, and be able to fight through that, through all those barriers.
Very quick word, because you need to go to the weather. Very quick word on your really honest thoughts about whether progress is possible, a much better progress. I mean, not, as you say, not progress in little bits, but whether we'll see a world of theatre that is embracing diversity in a far more meaningful way, let's say in the next 5 to 10 years. What are your hopes of that?
Yes, I absolutely, of course, hope that will happen, otherwise I wouldn't still be here. And some of the things that we're doing at Talawa is we're working at every side of the theatre industry. So we've got a big West End production that's, well, series of productions that are going to come up. So we're working with the higher end established theatres and theatre makers, and we're creating a community of emerging black artists. So at both ends of the pipeline, hopefully, we're then going to come and meet in the middle and have a drastically changed theatre.
Good. Money?
Well, I think, you know, there is a lot to be done, but there are people who are willing to do that. And I think that's what it needs. It needs people who are willing to put through the work, to believe in that, and to stand for equality. And it is those people who have the power, who have the necessary means, who have the connections to kind of stand up and say, do you know what, we believe in equality, we believe in, you know, equality for all. And I think that's what's important, people believing. And, you know, it's all fair and good talking about it, but it's about dealing with it and actually doing something about it.
Let us hope people are listening.
We hope so.
Yeah,
nice to meet
absolutely.
you both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both for coming in. Thank you very much, Gail and Emmanuel there.